day Mr. Kipling devised his almond, cherry walnut and spicy country slices, he gave us all an exceedingly difficult choice.
Here at Boots, we won't sell kiddie cars until they've passed the Boots MOT. For learner drivers, there are probably no safer cars. Boots, we test for the best.
If all children were made the same, our job at Clark's would be a whole lot easier. We wouldn't have to specially train our fitters, or make a range of styles in whole and half sizes, or bother with 4-width fittings, or worry about building up to 3 months growing room into every pair. But children are individuals, and at Clark's we never forget that.
Are you sure this is the B4525?
It's good to know that Shell's research into fuel and lubricants is working just as hard for you as it is for the McLaren Formula One team.
Hold on, Jack. It's a one-way street.
What do you mean it's one-way? Hello, darling, I'm home.
Hello, Han. Had a hard day?
Murder. Positively murder. You don't know what it's like. Marauding all day with those screaming hordes. You can't relax for a minute.
Got just the thing for you. A nice glass of Harvey's Bristol cream.
How very civilized.
Oh, Genghis rang. He's having a bit of a bash on Saturday night.
Oh.
Harvey's Bristol cream. A touch of refinement.
Presenting Quaker Harvest Crunch, the knobbly breakfast. Little clusters of wheat, oats, nuts, raisins and sultanas, honey toasted to stay crunchy, even in milk. Just one spoonful, and you'll wish more of your breakfast were knobbly. Quaker Harvest Crunch. It's nice, it's natural, it's knobbly.
Are all your men Flora men? Flora margarine is made with pure sunflower oil, high in polyunsaturates, with the taste men like.
These old black and white films are all very well, but who needs a duke for a hero? Me, I prefer a prince myself, Prince Luitpold of Bavaria. He brews Kaltenberg Pils, you know. He even puts a gold crown on top. You see? I told you I'd get you into the movies, didn't I?
Kaltenberg Diet Pills in glorious Technicolor.
Philips announced their new VHS video recorder.
Inside out, somebody please rescue me.
VHS, another sensation from Philips.
Announcing a new generation of televisions with flatter, squarer tubes. Philips Matchline. Matchline, another sensation from Philips.
When you've found the perfect colour, you need a perfect way to put it on. A touch of lilac, a lick of pink, a streak of red. It's beginning to look like a stroke of genius. Perfect colour.
I'll call him tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow. Tomorrow? On second thoughts...
In business, that extra little phone call can often save you a whole heap of trouble. Hello. Right, O'Neill?
Ah, I was just coming over to see you.
For all business, great and small, make that call.
Hello, I'm Henry. We've got slimline storage heating. My mum and dad weighed it all up. It's easy to put in, doesn't need a regular service, and the new slim heaters have their own controls. Running on economy 7 less than half price electricity, it's the cheapest way of heating in many homes. But what about hot water? Said Mum. Ah, said Dad, lots of hot water too, and on economy 7 it's cheaper overall. When they weighed it all up, they chose electric. HeatElectric, take control.
Well, now we've come to the last programme for the evening. We do apologise that it is earlier than scheduled. It's Postscript, of course. And tonight, Prebendary John Parkinson talks to the Reverend Bob Irving.
Britain increasingly becoming a multiracial and multi-faith society, and at times some of the teachings of those other faiths seem so different from us they perhaps seem a little bit strange. But someone who's been learning about a different religion because he's been working in Bahrain for the last 2 years, is someone again who's been very well known to Postscript viewers. It's Prebendary John Parkinson. John, you've been learning about a different faith because you've been living there. People sometimes say that there's only one God really, but we all worship him in different ways. Would you agree with that?
It's a tricky question, isn't it? The answer, of course, is yes. But what is the God that we worship? Or who is the God that we worship? The God of the Christian is a God who showed himself in Jesus Christ. And the whole message of Jesus Christ was one of love. And therefore, I assume, and I assume you assume, that God is love. And if we want to say what is God like, then we say look at the life and the person of Jesus Christ, who supremely demonstrated love on the cross. And therefore, this is what our God is. Now, the Muslim's God is very different. His God is much more a God of justice, I think. And they are very passionate about justice. And as you know, I mean, they will die for a just cause. The only problem is that some of them have one cause and some of them have another cause, and they're both prepared to die for it, believing that it is God's will. I don't think we ever got to that sort of stage in Western history, did we? I mean,
there were times when both sides prayed to God, believing that their cause was right, but we never with quite that same ferocity that perhaps the Muslim believes it so intensely. Has that had an influence, for instance, in this conflict between Iraq and Iran? You're right in the middle of it there.
Quite definitely. I mean, the Iraq, of course, has the better equipped army, but Iran just has hordes and hordes and hordes of youngsters who are perfectly prepared to die tomorrow if the mullahs tell them that that is Allah's will. And you see, if your name's chalked up for tomorrow, then your name's chalked up for tomorrow. There's nothing you can do about it. And if it isn't, then you'll come through. So this leads to a sort of fanaticism because of this belief that everything is in the hands of Allah.
Everything is in the hands of Allah, so the proper response for the dutiful Muslim is to commit his life totally into Allah's care.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, as you probably know, a good Muslim shouldn't take out insurance.
Because?
Well, because everything is in the hands of Allah, and I mean, either the date of his death is already fixed, and what does he need insurance for?
Yeah, sure. You mentioned Iran there, under the Ayatollah. Now, that is a modern type of resurgent, renewed Islam. Do you have any contact with that sort of spirit of Islam in Bahrain?
Yes, there are quite a number of Shias in Bahrain, though, of course, the ruling family is Sunni, so that the problem is there in Bahrain, and I suspect that it isn't all that far under the surface, but certainly it's not visible. It's a very pleasant place to live, a very nice place, and I certainly enjoy being there. There are Sunni mosques and there are Shia mosques, and they get on all right. In fact, I'm not so sure really, but I think one or two of the muezzins get a bit competitive and try and shout one another down when they're speaking through the loudspeaker. You know, they're supposed to be up the minaret, but they're down the bottom.
With an amplifier these days, yes. The muezzin, the man who calls the faithful to prayer in the mosque at different times of the day. Yes. Yeah. The modern Islamic movement in Iran has often been very critical of the West and of lots of parts of Western culture. Have you met any of that?
Oh, yes. Certainly the fundamentalist Arab, and there are many millions of them, think that the West is very corrupt. You know, they almost despise Western culture, and that's bad. I mean, it doesn't make for dialogue at all, and they do. And in fact, I've had to live through one of the most incredible things. I've been used to sort of taking the gospel to people and evangelizing in this country and feeling that I had a perfect right to do so. I've had to suffer the other end because we've had a very powerful Muslim mission to the Christian population, and the mullah who was addressing us, to my chagrin, knew his Bible better than I did.
And that embarrassing experience for you, John, but I'm sure it's something that you learned a great deal from.
Oh, I did indeed, yes. I discovered that, of course, just in the same fundamentalist way that he regards the Quran, so he treats the Bible in exactly the same way.
Well, John, wish we had more time to talk about your experience in Bahrain, but thank you for all that you've told us this evening. Thank you very much.
Well, now we've come to the end of programmes for this evening. Let's take a look at the weather, shall we? Apart from the possibility of an isolated shower, it'll be a dry day with broken cloud and sunny periods. Maximum temperature will be around 11 degrees Celsius, that's 52 Fahrenheit, and winds will be mainly light to moderate easterly. And now the shipping forecast for the next 24 hours. Portland, Plymouth, northeast 5 or 6, showers, good. Lundy, northeast 4 or 5, fair, good. Now let's take a last look at the clock. And the time is now 13 minutes past midnight. I do hope you've enjoyed reading this evening and that you enjoyed Hollywood Wives. Tomorrow night we've got another film for you, the midweek film. It's at 10:34 and it's Tatum O'Neill in Little Darlings. And I didn't mention anything about Postscript tomorrow night. In fact, at 12:20 we have Postscript featuring Celebration 85. So that's tomorrow night's programmes. Do hope you have enjoyed yourselves. And I have a transmitter announcement. Slapton transmitter will be off the air tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. in the afternoon due to essential maintenance. Well, I'll take my leave of you now. This is Jennifer Gavin on behalf of all my colleagues here at TSW and the transmitters, wishing you a very peaceful and good night. Please don't forget to switch off your television sets. Good night.